Alright, something I want to talk about that kind of hits, right to home for me. Trans people getting jobs. I recently had a job interview. I got the job, but, I was so nervous that I wouldn't get the job because the lady said she would call on Sunday. She meant the next Sunday, because it was Friday when I went and took the interview. So she meant the next Sunday that I would get a call before then for the job. So see, I was so nervous that because I told her I was trans, she wouldn't give me the job, that I thought she meant the Sunday that had passed. So I was so nervous that I started putting applications out for, God, everything. I was just putting application after application after application. I put out probably 10 in one day, just because I was so nervous that I wasn't going to get the job because I was trans. That is something that's got to stop. It cannot happen anymore. Why should somebody be worried about whether they're going to get the job because they're trans? Answer that question for me in the comments below. Why should somebody have to be worried? Give me your perspective on it. I'm going to tell you mine here. One thing. Why you should be worried you might not get the job. In Pennsylvania and a lot of other states, there is no law protecting trans or LGBT community people to get a job. Which means, just because that employer doesn't give jobs to somebody who's of that criteria, they can choose not to. It's their own opinion. They can do whatever the hell they want with it. And, a lot of states, I do know New York does it. They have a program, law, that protects people so that if you feel like you didn't get the job because you're trans, you can fight. You can sue, you can fight, or because you're gay or whatever. The second thing you should be worried about is, you may get the job, but you go by the name that you go by. For instance, I live in a small town with my fiance and her parents. I live in a very small town. What if they didn't let me go by Eric? I'd have to sit in there looking like this, full of dude ass here, being called a girly name that I'm not okay with. That could cause a lot of issues. First of all, they would definitely assume that I was gay, lesbian. They would definitely assume I was a lesbian. And in a small town like this, you might get the fucking shit beat out of you just for being a lesbian. But once they found out I was trans, I might definitely get the shit kicked out of me because I'm trans. That's a high possibility. That's high up on my list, and I'm terrified that somebody is going to beat the shit out of me because I'm transgender. I don't want that. I don't need that in my life either. The other thing that you might be worried about is the fact that once you get the job, even if they let you go by your chosen name, your other comrades, whatever you want to call them, are going to pick on you. I mean, it can happen. I've personally never had it happen, but it can happen. I've heard of situations like that. I mean, seriously, guys, I'm talking to the straight community and maybe the LGBT community who are managers or know of this going on at their workplace and they don't say anything, they don't do anything. Why? Why is that okay? Why is it okay for somebody who's different to be worried about whether they're going to get a job? You know just as well as I know, you gotta have a job to survive. How are you supposed to feed your family? How are you supposed to feed yourself? You can't do anything without a job. And it's okay for us to deny that to people? That's fucked up. That we're gonna sit there and deny people a job because they're different than what we expect people to be. And it's kind of fucked up that people who are in the LGBT community will do this to people who are trans. Lesbian, gay, bi, they will do it to people who are trans. That's not okay. I get that trans is not a sexual orientation. A lot of us feel like T should not be in that category. I don't feel like T should be, but it is. People before us have chosen that T is in that category for a reason. Because we all get judged because of who we are. It's not a choice. Just like being gay and bi and trans, and lesbian are not a choice. You should not be judged on who you are just because people think it's a choice. And I know a lot of gay people who think being trans is a choice. Why would you think that? Nobody sits there. I mean, you got people all around you telling you that being gay or lesbian or bi is a choice. And you know it's not. So why would you do it to a trans person? So, to the people who are in management, who are of the LGBT community, don't sit there and let a trans person come into your office and then deny them the job because you think it's a choice. Don't do it. If I see it, hear of it, I'm going to go mad, ass crazy on whoever you work for. It's going to be all over social media about how busted ass you are. It's going to be all over the place about how busted ass your fucking views are. So don't do it. Another thing, for the straight allies, if you're in management, you're assistant management, or you are the manager, or whatever, and you see this going on, please stop it. Set your boss aside. Talk to them. Have somebody they like talk to them. You know? Don't let it continue. Don't let it go on like that. And for people who are management, anybody who does this, think about it like this. I've always put it like this. I don't care how pissed off it makes people. This is how you should view it. If your kid was trans, would you want them to have to worry about getting a job? Think about it. If your kid was transgender, would you want them to have to worry about whether they can get a job or not? No, you wouldn't. Another thing. If your kid was trans and you were a manager, would you want them to hide that? Would you want them to feel like they have to hide that in order to have a job? Because you know what that does to people? When you have to hide something, it drives you nuts. Drives you insane. Like, I'm going to tell you what, when I have to hold a secret from somebody, it drives me fucking nuts. I'm like, God, I really want to tell them, but I can't because I promised Joe here that I wouldn't tell Scott that, Joe has a crush on his girlfriend or whatever. I don't know anybody. I don't have any friends by the name of Joe and Scott, in case anybody's wondering. But just think about it like that. If your kid has to hide it, they're going to go freaking nuts. And usually people who hide that kind of situation end up killing themselves. I know it's a hard truth, and it's not something that people want to admit, but that is a main reason that it does happen. So let's be concerned about that, and let's not judge people based on who they are. Let's not make people worried about getting a job based on who they are. So that's the video for this week, trans and jobs. If anybody has any suggestions, you can comment them below. I'll have my Instagram in the I'll have my Instagram in there, and I'll have my Facebook URL. I'm thinking about making a Twitter, so that might be in there. But just, if you have any ideas, shoot me a message. Hit me up on Twitter. Shoot me a private message on Instagram. I have no problem answering your questions. I have no problem being a friend. Hit me up. Alright? This is Eric, and I'm out. Bye.